Roles of a denizen. A content creator is a user that creates posts and is rewarded based on the quality of their content. A content evaluator is a user that helps assess the quality of content and enforces community standards. The evaluator is effectively taking part in a marketplace to curate content and is rewarded for early evaluation. A content consumer is a user that wishes to find and consume the most valuable content in a given subject area or within a community. A lair owner is a person holding tokenized ownership of all or part of a community lair. Owners are rewarded with a portion of all mining activity happening within their lair. Owners are incentivized to build the best community of content creators and evaluators. The internet is broken. Business models and site design are entirely geared toward advertising and not the reader. On today's internet, advertisements are distracting, invasive, and overwhelming. In Den, the primary objective is quality content. Instead of ads, you may occasionally see a boosted post where a user has risked value to increase its visibility. Just like any other post, you can upvote or downvote to help evaluate the relevance to your community. The more engagement a boosted post gets, the less the booster pays. Depending on the evaluation process, a booster can get up to 85% of their money back, if the post is well targeted and engaging. In Den, quality content is the primary objective.
Hello, and welcome. Hope everyone can hear me just fine. I just got in the door, quickly made my tea, and jumped on the computer to do the double checking my sound there is good, 5x5. And I didn't think I was going to make it back in time to do the meeting today, but I hear my chinny chin chin, I did. Barely made it, so walked in the door, don't even have a collared shirt on, just a t-shirt, my NASA t-shirt on. But let's go over the meeting. My apologies. I didn't post this because I didn't know what time I would be home and time to do the meeting. But it is now posted. Let me bring our agenda to the for our DENDAO meeting. Again, this is the DENDAO meeting for May the 22nd, 2025. The DAO is the Decentralized Autonomous Organization for Den.Social. And we're bringing up any items that we have to discuss, plus items that I talk about during each and every week. This is the DENDAO for this week. It is at the same time, same channel, same place, all of that good stuff every day, every Thursday at 2 p.m. Central. That's 3 o'clock Eastern, and I believe that's 8 o'clock Universal Time, UT time. So 8 p.m. How's that? Which would be 2000. There you go. All right. So today's agenda, we're going to open up with any current opening governance votes. The introduce yourself layer, and we'll again talk about that. Growing Den.Social, subscribe and follow. Rebranding Den.Social to DePlatform. I have some more items to discuss on that. And then if there's any open items to talk about or anybody that joins in the meeting, we can bring them on board. It's there's absolutely no financial advice here. There's no legal advice. There is nothing of that nature. This is a meeting where you can gather information. You can take part in the meeting. Cameras are optional. And let me update. I believe I did. Yes, this is, if you go to the DENDAO Lair on Den.Social and go to DENDAO, the most recent posting, there's a link here. Join the meeting by clicking the link below. Camera is optional. And then you can see the link is right here. So you can join the meeting. And that is the items that we're going to discuss today. Take a sip of my tea here. There we go. Wet the whistle. All right. So opening governance votes. Let's take a look. I just updated this page. There are one item that was resolved from the vote from last week was, let's see. One was podcast layer to add video. It was approved. Another one was talking about the themes for July, which is right here. June, what should the themes for the month of June? The top 4 will be selected. This is the themes for World Blockchain Roundtable. Remember, that is a DAO show where everyone who has essentially ownership in that layer, which is called layer ownership tokens, has a vote to vote on proposing changes to the show, voting and proposing themes to the show. If they're voted on and selected, then you earn even more lot, perpetual income, shall we say, not income, well, perpetual lot received. Some of those lot tokens have been traded on, I believe, OpenSea and for other cryptos, but that gives you an idea how it works. But anyway, so the month of June, the themes here that have been listed so far, there are several of them. I'm not going to go through and I have not voted yet, but there are several of them. And if you have ownership in this layer, then you can vote on what you want the panelists, the blockchain panelists or blockchain experts, to talk about and answer questions or field questions for. So there you have it. This last week was the 4th anniversary for the show. 4 years of the longest running DAO podcast in the world. That's amazing. So there you have it. So be sure and get into the governance votes and vote for what topic you would like the panel to discuss in the month of June. Also, let's see, what was resolved is on the show, what is the proper and accepted pronunciation of the word GIF or GIF? And 6 votes for GIF with a hard G, 1, and GIF received no votes, which is GIF as in peanut butter. So on World Blockchain Roundtable, it is now the law that you cannot pronounce GIF. You must pronounce it as GIF. Now, I don't know. There hasn't been another proposal should a panelist say GIF if they're going to be expelled or suspended from the show. There's no enforcement that's attached to this. It's just the pronunciation proposal was decided upon. So if you have other words that you want the panelists to properly pronounce, I suggest that you make a change proposal, submit it for the lot holders, the token holders of the channel to talk about. So I think Joe received what he wanted. The votes were, there you go. Joe voted for GIF, not GIF. So did Darox, Time Hoarder, GPS Crypto, Lisa Mighty Davis, aka she by the way has her own channel, her own layer, and Alexans voted there for it. All right.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
That gives you the updated on the layers there, and any governance votes. That's the last governance vote that was there. Moving on, welcoming new users. We're going to the layer where it's, I'm going to hit Control F and we'll type intro, which is introduce yourself. I encourage everyone to go here and see, and there have not been any more new users who have introduced themselves. Make sure that you tell people when they join DIN or haven't been on DIN for quite a while and are coming back to go back and post something there in the introduce yourself layer. And we as denizens will shower you with love, which is energy, and give you tips and advice on how to use the site. All right. Growing Den.Social and subscribe and follow. This, I talk about this every week, and I need to start plotting this to see if we're reaching anybody. But here's the deal. People research Den.Social. They want to know what Den.Social is and where do they go first. Oftentimes they'll go to YouTube, or they'll go to Telegram, or they'll Google it, or whatever. Or they'll go to X and they'll search, Den.Social on X. Well, Den.Social has its own, X profile and YouTube profile, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm asking us fellow denizens to subscribe and follow. And in this posting at the very bottom, it says on X, it's real denizens. On Telegram, it's also real denizens. And on YouTube, it's Den.Social. And so please go and subscribe, follow Den.Social at these locations. So when they look at Den.Social, they see that it has followers and subscribers. Next item of business, rebranding Den.Social to DePlatform. Want to discuss this further. I talked quite a bit about this in last week's meeting. I talked about the white paper. I talked about the reasons behind it, the need for it, and an untapped market, shall we say, or really, rather than an untapped market, let's call it a market of suppression, a market of censorship, a market that's been censored. Individuals, people who have not been allowed to have their free speech in the realm of political free speech. This is a huge issue in many countries. It's a huge issue on many platforms, and there needs to be a location where people can feel comfortable to say what they believe and talk about their political philosophies in a manner that they're not going to get censored or have to self-censor when talking about them, and where open debate, open dialogue can take place that is civil and not terroristic, not threatening in any manner, but where a place where individuals can feel comfortable in order to share their political philosophies or even research other political philosophies that they're not so familiar with, or wondering where they might align to, or look for education on a political philosophy, where in other places, if it be maybe YouTube that doesn't want communism, or YouTube that doesn't want, I don't know, socialism, or a YouTube channel that doesn't want fascism, or what all the different political philosophies there are, technocracy, meritocracy, all of these different places, a lot of individuals have been deplatformed, debanked, and thrown off of these sites. And we've been approached with individuals that are looking to build such a site where there would be live streaming or at least streaming a video where they don't have to censor themselves, and they can bring their flock, their followers over to this new platform. So that's the idea behind DePlatform, to provide a different niche, niche that is decentralized, cannot be taken down, where political censorship doesn't take place unless it's threatening or violates those types of mean-spirited, terroristic conversations of that nature. But and that's where all of us will be involved in creating what should be or not allowed on the site. For example, we don't want things that are certainly not social norms in video format. I'm not going to list these items there because I don't want YouTube to think I'm talking about those things or approving of those things or whatever. But see, there you go. Here on YouTube and on expert streaming, I have to be careful on what I say. I have to self-censor. Even if I'm talking about groups or videos that are not something that many people would agree with, but you sometimes don't even want to mention them on YouTube because you'll get blocked. So there you have it. That gives you an example of why DePlatform. In case you didn't missed it the last couple of meetings, that is the reason for DePlatform, the reason for the name, and why we believe that this is a solid option to draw people to a location for free political speech. Boy, I know in the UK, there's a lot of people that have been sequestered and censored and deplatformed, and we could get the word out, and they more than likely would come over and join on DePlatform. And not because they have extreme viewpoints, they just can't speak up against certain concepts or ideas or enforcement that their government is, I'm going to say it, inflicting on the populace. So there you have it. Which brings us to the next point that we talked about in last week's meeting, and I want to bring this up again for those who didn't watch or see it. The question is, we rebrand what happens to matter, what happens to lot, what happens to lore, and this again is going to need input from all of you. You need to be involved in these decisions and what is proposed. Is it a 3-month window to convert your matter, or is it a 6-month window? Is it a 1-year window? How is it converted? What percentage or what? And who is coming on board under the new platform, under DePlatform? Who is going to help us grow this thing? These are the questions that we have to ask. And these are the questions that we have to propose in the DENDAO meeting and have to vote on, and it must pass, and how it's all going to work. The white paper was soon to be, the first draft is soon to be published. It will be published on DIN, and where everyone can take a look at it, poke holes in it. And this is something that's very important to all of us on Den.Social as fellow denizens. I too am a stakeholder in matter, in lore, and lot, and want what's best for my stack and what's best for your stack and everybody. And as the elected leader of the DENDAO, it's my duty to present to you factually what the proposal is, and not per se, I'm not going to tell you how I would vote or not vote. I think that would be wrong. I need to be objective here and present it in such a way that allows you to make your own decision and your own vote on what you believe is what's best for your stack of tokens and what you believe is what's best for Den.Social. Having said that, I too, just like you, am a stakeholder and want Den.Social to be successful and want the rebranding to be successful. And I want to grow this platform. And is this the right way to grow it towards those who have been deplatformed? I mean, I think it's pretty difficult if we're going to try to go out there and compete with, cat videos on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or something like that. I think that there are so many platforms out there for just the generic, funny, humorous videos. Not to say that we won't have them or can't have them. Of course we will, and of course we can. It's just if that was our target audience, who knows, maybe we could grow quick and be a flash in the pan, but we certainly wouldn't make a difference, I think, in society or in the world, or provide a platform that has all of the capabilities that Den.Social has to show and prove. As what is it? It is a poly market. It is a betting market on every post. Imagine that being on every video where people vote up or vote down on a video. I'm going to vote up on this video because I like what he's saying. I may not agree with everything that he said or she said, but I'm going to vote it up because it was had quality content. Or I'm going to vote it down because I don't believe in that philosophy, and this is reasons why, and I'm going to explain it, my viewpoint and how. So that's what Den.Social brings to bear, and it brings governance like our DAOs. You don't have a DAO on X, and you don't have a DAO on YouTube, and you don't have a DAO on TikTok, and you don't have a DAO on all these other platforms where you have a vote, where you have more than just a say, but you can also bet on a poly market and obtain consensus. If consensus is met that matches your vote and you vote earlier, your rewards are going to be greater. That is beautiful and perfect in this age where we're at, where we're in an age where, AI is becoming a bigger and massive part of our lives. And what is truth and what is not truth? What is AI and what is not AI? And human discernment, our abilities with our cognitive reasoning to make a logical and deductive choice as to what is AI or what is not AI, we as humans are very good at that. And Den.Social can be that tool that everyone refers to. Imagine if it becomes deplatform and people are saying, is it AI or is it not AI? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to deplatform and see what they say, because it employs the wisdom of the crowd. The wisdom of the crowd gets it right. The average mean average answer by the crowd can be more accurate than experts. So if something is presented by someone who posts, is this AI or is this not AI? And we watch it and we make a vote and we decide with our energy, consensus is reached, then more than likely we're going to be accurate more times than not. And we're going to be better than even the experts. The experts are going to weigh in their votes too. But as a large group, as a large mass, making those votes with energy, we can determine fact versus fiction, AI versus not AI. And that is powerful. That can grow our numbers. But it takes you, it takes me, it takes all of us to talk about this capability that we have built here on Den.Social, and are going to carry it over to DePlatform and grow this thing into a marvelous tool for everyone and for humanity to use. Now imagine if that's now applied to different philosophical, reasoning or theories or political theories, and that same thought or way of thinking is applied in deductive reasoning by a group, and wisdom of the crowd is applied to that. Wow, do we have an incredible tool that is ripe and ready for the masses to adopt and utilize? I think we do, and I think we're ready for that. And this could be huge, could be very huge, very profitable. Who knows? But not financial advice. There you have it. So that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit more in depth in today's meeting for the rebranding of Den.Social to DePlatform. This, I'm sure, is going to be, and this topic here that's on the page here on the screen, rebranding Den.Social to DePlatform, I'm sure is going to be a topic we're going to be talking about a lot in the next couple of weeks or month or two, and it's getting closer and closer, and it's going to need more of your input, and I'm looking forward to hearing your questions about it. So let's take a look. And if there's anybody who has joined us, I don't see anybody who has joined us in our meeting or have any questions or comments. But just because you didn't catch today's meeting or the post wasn't up doesn't mean that it's not too late. You can still make postings here on the DENDAO meeting or on the YouTube or wherever, and I will respond to them. Take a look and listen to what I'm explaining as far as the rebranding, and we should start having this discussion openly and in public with more attendees from Den.Social in our DENDAO meeting. So to recap today's meeting, we talked about the governance votes. Go out there, and if you got a lot in World Blockchain Roundtable, vote on next month's themes. Welcome new users. If you see them and introduce yourself, encourage new users to go to introduce yourself. If you have been away from Den.Social for quite a while, go to introduce yourself and post there. Growing Den.Social, subscribe and follow. Follow us where we're presenting this information to the others, on the other platforms. Let's show numbers over there. Rebranding Den.Social to DePlatform, we talked about that and all the reasons why and why it's a good thing. And then open forum items to discuss. Make sure you post questions or comments on Den.Social and the DENDAO Lair after you've watched this meeting. All right, that is it for today. I appreciate everybody. I'm glad that I was able to make it to the meeting after all, after a trip to the airport and back. And there you go. Thank you very much for watching the meeting, and we will see you again next week. Same time, same channel, same place, every Thursday, 2 p.m. Central. That's 3 p.m. Eastern and 2000 UT time. All right. Thank you very much.